Today I'm here with Maya Kumble from TISB, Khushi Gupta from the Shriram School, Mulsari, and I'm here too from TISB. Today we are in conversation with Dr. Ranjan, who is the consultant urologist and kidney transplant surgeon at Fortis Hospital, Mohali. In the past 15 years, Dr. Ranjan has done more than 1,000 kidney transplants and is a very sought after surgeon. So, Dr. Ranjan, we just wanted to ask you a few questions related to the effects of the vaccine, particularly in your field, and also a couple of general questions. So, the first question I wanted to ask you was, is the vaccine safe for renal transplant patients and patients on dialysis?
Hi, everyone. A very good afternoon to all of you. At the outset, I would like to congratulate all of you for taking up this initiative. It's a really very good initiative and much needed in the society at this point of time. And as per your question, see, vaccination, when initially it was launched, it was not tested in patients who were immunosuppressed, like the kidney transplant patients or the dialysis patients. So in the initial phase of trials, these patients were not included. So there was a lot of confusion about the efficacy and risk factors of vaccination in such group of patients. But later on, these patients were also included, and now it has been established that since these are not live vaccines or not live attenuated vaccines, so these vaccines, especially currently which are available in India, are completely safe for such patients, and they should go ahead with vaccination.
Thank you, Doctor. So the second question we had was, of course, a lot of people are worried about the pandemic and they don't really want to take a chance of getting COVID-19. So would you say it's worth the risk to get vaccinated?
Sorry, I couldn't get your question, Maz. Say it again, please.
Right, sir. So essentially, a lot of people are worried about getting COVID-19. So would you say, as a doctor, would you advise people, is the vaccine worth the risk?
Yes, definitely. See, initially there were a lot of reports about some kind of side effects, some kind of very, very side effects, such as bleeding disorders or maybe some clots in the brain, or there are different types of news. But then, see, whenever we are going to take some measure, so whenever an intervention is being planned, the risk and the benefit ratios are certain. So whatever is the risk has to be ascertained with not taking the vaccine, the risk of not taking the vaccine. So after all the calculations and all the research, now it has been clearly established that the incidence of the serious or a very life-threatening, debilitating side effects is very, very less, and it occurs in maybe 1 in thousands or maybe 1 in 2000s, vis-a-vis the risk of having serious complications or because of this COVID-19. So it is almost certain that the vaccine is worth the risk, and everybody in the society, including all immunosuppressed patients, dialysis patients, transplant patients, everybody should go ahead and take this risk of vaccination.
Thank you, Doctor. So now that a lot of people have already gotten vaccinated, could you tell us more about the side effects of the vaccination that have been observed? And like what have you personally observed about it?
So vaccination has got two kinds of side effects. One is something which is not life-threatening, which is a very local kind of side effect, and the other is life-threatening side effects. So the simple side effects are like asthenia, fatigue, maybe a febrile reaction, or maybe some kind of headache, running nose, local tenderness. So these are some of the very mild side effects of vaccination, which are seen in majority of the population. And the good thing is that they wean off in 24 to 48 hours, almost universally in everybody. The other group of side effects, which are more serious side effects, are the formation of a clot, which is a very, very rare side effect and has been observed in very, very few patients. And Some reports are there about bleeding disorders, but as I've previously stated, the risk benefit, when we see the risk benefit ratio, so the chance of having a side effect, a serious side effect because of the vaccine is much, much lesser than the chance of dying due to COVID-19 if you have not taken a vaccine.
The next question we had was a lot of people are very confused about like the ages which are eligible to get the vaccine. Could you just like shed some light upon that?
So everybody who is susceptible to this novel coronavirus should undergo a vaccination. The initial studies which were done were above the 18 years of age, and these studies came predominantly from the US and the UK. And then in the next phase of the trial, the patients who were more than 5 years, so children from 5 to 15 years, 16 years were included. So in the US guidelines, they have now started recommending these vaccines to children also. The safety is yet to be established in pregnancy and lactation, as well as children who are less than 5 years of age, 6 months to 5 years. So somebody who is more than 5 years of age, somebody who is not pregnant or lactating, irrespective of the age, he or she can go ahead with vaccination. The only contraindication or maybe a word of caution would be somebody who has contacted a COVID infection, documented positive RT-PCR. He should wait at least for 2 months as per the current guidelines before the next shot of vaccination.
Doctor, but there haven't been any like researches or trials done for Covaxin and Covishield specifically, right? And like minors who are the age of 18.
Yeah, so but then it has been seen that the variants and the mutants of the virus have started affecting the children also. In the last wave of COVID, children were not that affected, but in this wave, a lot of children are getting affected. And wherever the infection occurs, it spreads very fast into the family, whether they are kids, whether they are adults or elderly. So as the experience is accumulating and as the fears are being lessened, currently not in the guidelines as yet by the recommendations, but yes, in due course of time, the data would be clearly established for children from 5 to 15 years, 5 to 15 or maybe 18 years.
Right, Doctor. So you actually briefly answered this, but the people who test positive for COVID-19, what would you suggest? What are the measures that you would suggest them to take post recovery?
So after recovery, see, once somebody tests positive for COVID-19, he is likely to develop antibodies and likely to stay immune to the next burden of infective load in his body. But then the life of these antibodies is not yet known, whether they are going to last for 3 months or 6 months or a year, or maybe when are they going to need a booster dose or something like that. So once they recover after COVID-19, they should still follow all the COVID appropriate behavior, whether it is sanitization of hands, whether it is wearing a mask, whether it is social distancing. So all these measures still need to be followed, and they need to be cautious. They should not go out at crowded places unnecessarily. So all these measures need to be intact even after recovery from COVID-19. And as soon as they pass 2 months after the infection, they should go ahead with vaccination.
Okay, doctor, thank you. Another question we had is more specific to your field. Should patients waiting for transplants get the vaccine?
Absolutely, yes. Since the patients who are suffering from kidney failure or maybe heart failure or any other organ failure, so organ failure is a state of immunodeficiency in itself. So these patients are high-risk patients, whether transplant patients or whether patients who are awaiting a transplant. These patients mostly are at high risk of contacting not only COVID-19 but other kind of infections also. There are vaccination protocols before kidney transplant, such as for hepatitis B or maybe flu shot. So a lot of vaccines are already there for such patients, and definitely COVID-19 vaccine is a very, very apt addition and timely addition in such an armamentarium. So all patients who are awaiting transplant should undergo vaccination.
Doctor, the last question we wanted to ask was, like after the vaccine, after we do get the vaccine, we're not completely safe, right? Even after getting the vaccine, we're not completely immune to the disease. So, could you just reiterate about the precautions that we're supposed to take even after getting the vaccine?
So, we should know that vaccine is not going to prevent us from getting infected by the disease, number one. Only thing is that even if we get infected, the likelihood of severity is less. So that is the advantage of getting a vaccine done. So one should follow all the precautions, which include number one, social distancing, staying 6 feet away from fellows wherever they are, avoid unnecessary travel, avoid unnecessary gathering at crowded places, always wearing a mask, preferably an N95 mask or maybe at least a double masking, washing hands frequently, multiple times every 3 to 4 hours, or in between applying hand sanitizer or alcohol hand rub on the hands, not touching the surfaces and maybe doors, lift, windows unnecessarily, and avoiding places which do not have proper ventilation, such as not using the lifts and taking up the stairs. So these are all measures by which we can avoid frequent contact with the virus, and these should be carried on whether the person is vaccinated or not.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ranjan, for taking time out of your schedule to talk to us. It was like a delight to have you. Thank you.
It was a great experience, and I wish you all the best. All of you are doing a great job, and keep it up. And you are the future of the country. Lovely talking to all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.
Bye bye. Take care.